Hey there, welcome to day 1055 of What's She Up To Now. Sharon Horne-Ellstrom here, documenting my journey as I transition from the brick and mortar corporate world of business to the online world of business. 2017, I had the opportunity to, as part of my divorce and divesting myself of all my previous assets and things with my ex-husband, to look into something I was always curious about. It was, too old that I didn't want to start necessarily another traditional business, but not old enough to really throw in the towel and retire and not do anything. So I've been curious about the internet for, since its inception. Actually, I was actually one of the very early people to get on the internet as an engineer and scientist. It was actually for nerdy people like me originally, and so early on, but never really had opportunities to use it for my businesses. Once I left corporate America, too busy building my businesses to actually spend time exploring and figuring out, well, what could I do online? Wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be interesting? So in 2017, I had the opportunity to do that. Jumped in with ClickFunnels. ClickFunnels is a platform for building funnels or websites. Really, it's just a website building platform with a lot of functionality. And I started there based on actually the recommendation of a friend of mine, Jim Edwards, who's an incredible copywriter, unicorn, definitely a unicorn, one of my favorite people in the whole wide world and online. And I followed him and have followed him, since he got online, like late 1990s, early 2000s, whenever he started online. I don't know how our paths crossed, but they did. And he's been one of those people that I've actually followed the entire time, or been, connected with. Been on the gym boat. Gym Boat 6 was the last one. This year's got canceled, which made me sad because I had missed one. I think I'd only missed one or two. And it made me sad because it's a really fun, amazing way to connect with people and learn. If cruises ever get going again, I think it'd be fun and amazing to do a cruise, do a challenge cruise or something. Doing a challenge summit next year, early in the year. Haven't ferreted it out yet. And to be honest, during this challenge, today's day 18, the holidays and Christmas and everything, I have not been putting forth enough effort for that. I need to get it in my schedule, blocked out time a little bit better than I have had. Today was day 18 of our 5th 30 plus day get up and go challenge, where I started at the beginning of COVID, just really selfishly to help myself add structure and to know what to do, because like everybody else, I had this incredible sense of what the hell is happening, what is going on with our world and our lives and our businesses. This is something, and I had done dozens and dozens of what if scenarios and emergency action plans for all different sized businesses, corporations, departments of corporations, plus my own businesses for decades. Yet I got to tell you, nowhere in there did we have pandemic. Pandemic was not in our possibilities of an action plan that would inhibit and shut our businesses down in ways that we've never imagined or experienced before. So even though I've done a lot of emergency action plans, none of them, we did tornadoes, we did floods, we even did hurricanes for Minnesota and Wisconsin businesses. You're not going to get a hurricane in Minnesota or Wisconsin, yet that was part of our emergency action plans. But terrorism was, but terrorism is different than COVID and a pandemic. Pandemic just didn't enter into it. And I guess, maybe it should have, because we've had increasing occurrences of things like swine flu and things, but it just, it didn't, because we never thought it would impact enough of our business to shut us down or cause us to have to shutter our doors for 2 weeks, a month, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, big periods of time, big blocks of time. So, just something that we'd never even considered. But it's been one of those years. It's just one of those years where, okay, don't ever say, I'm learning, don't ever say nothing worse could possibly happen, because as soon as we say that, guess what? We attract something worse into our life and into our experiences. So I try to say, hey, this too shall pass, right? 2020 shall pass. We're actually looking at the end of the year. It's the 18th, so we're over the halfway mark in December. That means we only have a few more weeks to go with 2020. And God willing, 2021 will be a much better year for all of us in America, all of us around the world. So the challenge today was about physical. We're going through the SOAP framework with respect to an example of our physical well-being, our physical health. There's physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, financial, relationships, and contribution. Those are the key 7 areas of our lives and of our existence. Now, I'm sure you can break it down and make whatever categories you want. I don't like to go personally over 7 because 7 I can remember. My short-term memory is all stacked up and good to go with multiples of 7. So that's why I like that particular framework, which I learned, geez, I don't know, Tony Robbins, Jim Rohn, somebody back in the days when I first discovered personal development and learning and teaching ourselves things and learning on our own. That was one of the frameworks that I learned, and it just stuck with me. So just like who, what, where, when, why, and how from my journalism days, that stuck with me. That, and now the SOAP framework is definitely automatically ingrained in me after doing the challenge 5 times, and actually more, 5 30-plus day challenges. But I've been using this process for a couple of decades, and I've got it, so it's just automatic for me. When I'm faced a challenge or a change or a difficulty, I automatically work through these steps. Well, during COVID, SOAP, I was like, okay, we're washing our hands all the time. Now, in the food industry, always washed my hands like 30 times a day, and we did all these things because I had a food business, and it just was automatic. But now COVID's made it automatic for everybody, and SOAP just seemed like the perfect acronym or the perfect thing to make the framework as I taught it and shared it with other people. And shame on me for not sharing it with more people, when I started doing it years and years and years ago. I think that it's something that's worked so well and got me through so many things and so many challenges that would normally have just caused people to give up and not move forward at all, or just shrivel up and sit and die, literally. That shame on me for not sharing it sooner. But I guess we don't know what we don't know until we realize it and have an aha moment and know it, and then we get involved in it. So AP was what I called today's challenge, and not AP like Associated Press, because I'm not a big fan of theirs right now, of any press or any media, but AP because action and physical. The A in SOAP stands for action. So what are we going to do? How are we going to evaluate all the possible things we could do and actually pick something and move forward with it? How are we going to do that? And so we talked about one of my favorite, what I actually, and as a nerdy person that loves to overcomplicate things, the fact that this is my favorite problem-solving decision-making tool is kind of mind-boggling. But it's got a lot of history. I've got a lot of history with it. I've used it for things, big decision-making and small decision-making. I used it to decide if I was going to marry my husband or not, my now ex-husband or not. So maybe I didn't do that good a job on it, using the tool. But for the most part, the tool, we were together like, it would have been 29 years last week. So obviously, married for 25, it wasn't a bad deal. What was I thinking about that? Oh, what is it? What is this tool, you ask? It is the simple plus or minus tool. I call it plus or minus. We should call it, probably because my dad, I love it because my dad used to always ask my sisters and I to go get him either a plus or minus screwdriver. Instead of saying Phillips or standard, he said plus or minus, because we could look at it and we could see when we were little girls a plus or a minus on it. And then when we were a little older, he taught us the plus or minus decision-making tool. And he said, whenever you have to make a decision or choice, okay, remember the man lived with 4 girls, 4 daughters, and 5 women, 4 daughters and my mom, so 5 girls. And we were like herding cats sometimes. You needed to find a way that we could make decisions so we could get moving in the same direction together. So he taught us as little kids, not only plus or minus screwdrivers, but plus or minus decision making. So, you're faced with an option or obstacle or a choice that you need to make, and you would sit and do the pluses of each possibility and then the minuses of each possibility. And it didn't have to be super in-depth. It was just, we would list off, well, what's an advantage of doing this? What's a disadvantage? What's an advantage of doing another thing? What's a disadvantage? And we learned at a very young age to use that as a decision-making strategy. And it made it so that we were very quick, very easy decision makers, for the most part, right? Depending on the topic, depending on the thing, depending on the daughter, depending on the subject. But it's just something that stuck with me. It's actually a framework. Plus and minus, that tool is a framework, a decision-making tool that anybody can use at any time. You don't need any special equipment. You got everything you need already in your head, and you can just look at the alternatives and plus or minus, and list off the pluses and the minuses. So I love that decision-making tool. I will teach it probably till the day I die, because there's a lot of people, guess what? They don't even have that in their toolbox of getting through life. They don't have any decision-making tools. They're like I was when I was younger, where I figured I had to do what and choose from the alternatives that were right in my face, or I had to do the thing that other people told me I should do because I should do it. That's the thing I should do. And for a long time, I did that. I let people control and make decisions for me. And then I realized, oh my God, I can choose for myself. I can make decisions all by my big self. And then I started making my own choices and decisions. Were they always right? Heck no. Wouldn't it be awesome if we always made the perfect choice for us? We always make the best choice for us at the time, but we usually don't have the information we need, or we don't realize that there's other possibilities or options for us, but we do the best we can with what we've got right now. And that's what I tell people. Don't expect yourself to be perfect. I've never had this perfection complex that a lot of people have, especially a lot of women. I've just never had it. Maybe because I grew up with lots of sisters, and there's no such thing as perfection. And I realized that, you know, in some situations we do the best we can. We always do the best we can with what we've got right now, but we don't beat ourselves up if it isn't perfect, because it's better to take imperfect action and be moving than to sit and do nothing, waiting for the stars to align and the world to be perfect for us. So that was the Get Up and Go challenge today. Snowball effect was our idiom for supersize your business and for just my ramblings on my Facebook page today. And it's really interesting. Of course, the snowball effect led me to Not a Snowball's Chance in Hell, which is really interesting in that snowball effect, I couldn't actually get at what the history of it was. I don't know if the internet is serving up different information or what's going on, but I've been getting increasingly frustrated lately with trying to find the history and the where stuff actually came from information. And the snowball effect was one of those. It's like, well, there's an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants on the snowball effect, and there's some scientific things about snowball sampling. There's some financial and some other things. There's some political examples. There's some media examples, but for the most part, it was a little frustrating. But that led me to, of course, A Snowball's Chance in Hell. And interestingly enough, the origin of that is from Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, and I think it's the Atlantic Constitution. Let me take a peek here, because I couldn't remember when I was doing my video what the name of the paper is. I can't even, still don't know what it is. Yeah, the Atlanta Constitution in the 1890, November 24th of 1890, there was a contested election in Liberty County. So Georgia has a history of contested elections as well. No surprise there. So I thought that was interesting, but we could find the history of that one, that that's where it came from, because they used to consider that part of the country hell because it was hot. So they said there's not a snowball's chance in hell about something about the election. I don't remember about the election, but it was a contested election in Atlanta, Georgia, that Snowball's Chance in Hell actually was printed and originated. So that was interesting. Idioms. Idioms are still fun for me. I thought I would lose my fun for them. I've had a couple of times, just like anything else, whenever we're doing something and it gets a little hard, we think, oh, do I really want to keep doing this? It's kind of hard. I'm getting to the end of my book of 600 plus idioms, and I've saved all the ones that are hardest to relate to business and not done them because they're the hardest to relate to business. Yet I challenged myself to make myself do all of them in the book. I think there were like 634 or more in the book, and I did all of them and found ways to connect them to how can you use this to grow your business, even if how can you use this to make sure you don't do something to prevent you from growing your business. So that was fun. And now I've run out of the book, so I'm using a dictionary, but the dictionary, it's got all kinds of figures of speech and other things in it that aren't idioms at all. So I was suspecting, actually I just Googled a list of, through Christmas, I wanted to do some more lighthearted, fun ones. So I Googled a list of, 27, I think, different Christmas and holiday related idioms. And I was going to share those a couple days ago, and I thought, nah, some of them we've already done over the last, probably 700 days of doing idioms. So I didn't want to repeat those yet. And I didn't want to go through and look and try to find out. I've got a worksheet, but it's not sorted by name. So I'd have to type in each one and then run a search through my worksheet to see if I did it or not. I didn't feel that much energy to go into this. So, and I've got other things that I'm doing as the holidays approach. I've got other priorities. So I didn't do that, but I just started picking them randomly. So I think yesterday we did skating on thin ice, kind of a dangerous thing. Snowball effect today, and then I'll pick a few more from it, and then probably Christmas. I'll share the rest of them, and we'll all vote on, well, what is our favorite holiday, Christmas holiday idiom? And I'm sure there's more. These are in English, and I've got these 27 off a couple of different lists. So I'm sure I'm missing some. And probably before I do it, I'll Google and I'll cross check my list and see if there's more, because I know there's more and more idioms being created all the time and being accepted as idioms all the time with respect to holidays. Working on the summit, I think I mentioned earlier, I have not been working on it as much as I should. I need to actually block out the time. Maybe an hour a day I need to block out to actually put the pieces in place to make that happen. That's it. I've got so much to do. Going to have my granddaughter next week for a couple of days. Super excited about that because she's done with school before Christmas. So we'll spend a few days of fun and frolicking and probably Christmas wrapping with her. That's a good thing to do because I'm sure she's probably a better rapper than I am at 5. And, got 55 years on her, but I'm still not a very good rapper. Anything I can help you with, ask in the comments below. Hit me up. It's a busy time of year, but it's also a wound down time of year from a coaching and consulting standpoint. So I have a block of time where I can't answer questions. I can help. And if I don't know the answer, I guarantee I can find you somebody that does, or hook you up with a resource that will help you get to the next step in your process, because that's what it's all about. Have an amazing day. If I can help you, hit me up. Otherwise, I'll be with you tomorrow to update what I'm doing as I transition from the offline world to the online world. Take care.